looks like, to me, it looks like attempting to use the internet is what is going to compromise my frame rate. And I do think that having my ugly face is somehow an important part of this. My unshaven face. So I'm gonna hold off on the internets for a while. But what is important now, what's important right now, is not that in particular. What we want to do is talk about the Wild Wild West. The Wild Wild West. What is the Wild West? Well, there are a variety of theories, and this is one of the reasons that I wanted to use the internet, but I'm going to wait. So let's maybe put that in our I came across a book while I was in jail, and there's no doubt whatsoever. There's no doubt whatsoever about the fact that everything here is a torrent of synchronicity and spiritual significance and spiritual profundity. How do I know that? Because there are literal demons, actual literal demons in my presence. Now, I don't know, when I say that, I don't know what that means. When there is a discussion, let's say one of the most recent, Joe Rogan here in Austin, one of the most recent discussions was with a representative, assuming this is still a democracy and that the same rules are at play, and she's actually represents people. She mentioned extra-dimensional entities. Okay, there's this tendency in what used to be regarded as the outer realms, the fringe theories and fringe hypotheses about the nature of reality, that pairs the concepts of angels and demons with aliens, extra-dimensional entities, or interdimensional entities. IDEs, I think is what they're called. Regardless, when I say I am literally in the presence, the physical presence of demons, I mean that these entities have a metaphysical component, and there's no doubt in my mind whatsoever, and there never has been, any doubt that these things have always been around. They've always been a part of human experience. And it doesn't matter how desperately you want to explain it away by referring to your most recent demonic tome, such as psychology or psychiatry. The fact remains that there has been practically zero civilizations prior to ours that wholesale discount or disregard the very concept of metaphysical entities. Now, why do you think that is? And what does it tell you about our society? I don't 100% know, but I do believe in evolution as a survival strategy. I believe that we, human beings, have souls, immortal. We are connected to something greater than ourselves. And I highly doubt that. Oh no, hold on. What is happening here? I seem to have lost my mind. Okay. Human existence has always encountered these things. And when I refer to the wild, wicked, wild west, that's 3 wilds. That's wicked. So it's 4 W's, but 3 wilds. It's the wicked, wild west. The WWW is a very important part of it. WWW. Why? Well, before jumping into that, you have to address what Terence McKenna referred to as the felt presence of immediate experience. Ground yourself in the reality of your six physical senses. Assuming that you're attuned to all of them, such as sound, sight, touch, taste, and smell. And then, of course, intuition. Your greater sense of smell. As you go out into the physical world, you go to your job, you interact with other human beings, what you're going to notice, undeniably, every single time, is that there are forces at play. You might distinguish them simply, attempt to discard them by referring to them as emotions, but by and large, they are things beyond your understanding that are acting upon you. Okay? Those things that are acting upon you are also acting upon your friends and associates. And those entities have demonstrated themselves and their power over humankind in an urgent way, increasingly so, over the past 112 years. But in particular, out of 112 years, the most recent 5, Terence McKenna referred to this as the increasing aggression towards novelty. I think that the thing that Terence McKenna got wrong, or wasn't 100% accurate about, was the concept of the eschaton. I don't recall him ever saying what I'm about to say, and what I am about to say is a blend of McKennaite philosophy and Alan Watts's philosophy. The end is always near. Always. The end of the world is always near. It has always been near. And it presents itself in... I gotta turn off my screensaver. It presents itself in in your own individual life, meaning that the end of your life is the end of the world as an individual, because that's, if you, I mean, it shouldn't take too much effort to understand what I mean by that. Like, regardless of whether the world is ending or you're dying, it's by and large the same thing for your mind as an individual. It's possible that Terence McKenna was predicting his own death, but was off by 12 years. Or he was predicting the birth of my own daughter, and he was right on the nose. Regardless, as a physical entity being acted upon by invisible forces, much as I have encountered in a manner that is so impossible to describe. The only way I can describe it is as a pressure. It's like walking through a static, a field of static electricity. Right now, as I'm, like, literally now, not the date and time, but the actual now. I am clear-minded, clear-headed. The pressure is not present to such an encroaching degree that I can't think in a that I'm like not able to think or speak in a linear fashion. Well, it kind of comes and goes, actually, depending on distractions and whatnot. But what occurred to me today is, well, the things that I've listed here, but also my birthday. I'm going to regard today as, first of all, it is only the 16th, but I'm going to act like it's the 17th, because 8 plus 17 equals 25. And I can do whatever the fuck I want, because I am God's creature and I have the ability to create and to imagine. So we are 24 hours away from 8 plus 17 equals 25. Also, today, I realized all the things that I'm listing out here. It's a moment of epiphany, and there's a lot that goes into it. First was epiphanical. The first was the destruction of Combi. Second was the result. The third was my claim to the territory. Okay. I'm going to, I know I'm all over the place here, but I am going to explain at least number 4. The maniacal, psychopathic, demonic possessed Satanists that I have been encountering and in battle and at war with since 2020. Actually, I would say probably since 2019. Probably for 6 years. 6 years. Because it started after the end of my relationship, which was in 2018, the end of 2018. I spent a year and a half, almost 2 years, but about a year and a half before the pandemic, trying to be a single father in this world. And I was in a war that I wasn't aware of, because my mind had been captured. I was a prisoner of war, much as many of you are. Unfortunately, your minds are captive to demonic forces, and I'm trying to free you. Regardless of whether or not you see that, understand that, or believe it, it is the fact. I am a freedom fighter, okay? The evidence of my embattled prerogatives is in every single everything. Just look at the facts, look at the data, look at the evidence. This most recent development is Sequana. I can't remember what it's called, but it is the perfect perfect example. They destroyed my computer, the computer I'm currently using. What they managed to do, and I'm telling you, this is not just a happenstance. This is not just some coincidence. This came after a series of events that I've described in prior recordings. And I even brought up the evidence. Here's the evidence. I'm doing what I'm doing on a machine that does not have, that does not register a battery. I'm going to run really fast. What it's going to show you at the end here, line power and display. Where you would go to find, if you're on a Linux machine, where you would go to find the location of any power supply is in this directory, which will show you things like it's going to show you a lot of programs, as well as programs that are tied to physical components. Right here you see power supply. Right here you see a governor. And I guess I could just go ahead and give it a shot to see if... No, you can't really. Maybe. See, and here's where I get stuck is what doesn't make sense to me, and I think it's because I individually have a governor on what I'm permitted to know and you won't find this shit in a book. You won't find this in, like, I've rummaged through every fucking Linux book in the public library. Everything that you can know about Linux, you have to learn by yourself. Everything that is meaningful about how to manage and how to navigate this stuff, you must teach to yourself. You are not going to find it in a YouTube video. You might if you have the patience, but you're not going to do it in a simple search. And so just toying around with it, like, my instinct is to say, okay, can I just turn this off by editing the file? I don't have Nano, but I do have Vi, which is, you see at the top there. If I try to make it a 0, and then if I go file truncated, it's not going to let me do it. What's happening? Okay. Can't do anything about it. But I can go back and show you the fact that There's only one power supply, and it's AC. I'm on a machine that no longer registers that it even has a fucking battery. That's because they tried to fry this fucking machine. And as a consequence, I'm just going to open up wide. I'm not in the dark anymore. I'm gonna do what I came to this earth to do. And that is as an explorer and an adventurer in the wild west. So the resulting reaction of their efforts for me has been to realize the stakes. To just fully accept and to realize the stakes. Oh, that's what it is. That was the one thing. The stakes. To accept them as they are. The stakes are that the world has become the way that it is as a consequence of the forces of chaos and order intermingling, and the most powerful people on earth have risen to such an extent, such a degree of prominence that they are literally demons incarnate. They're not. It's not a part of your imagination. This is literal, physical, actual, real, physical demons who actually kidnap and rape and torture and murder children and people of all ages. In fact, we can add this. This is quickly becoming things I'm gonna do at the end when the frame rate's gonna go to shit because I'm using the internet. So what do you do when you wake up to the epiphanical vision of, first of all, the destruction of the computer, the bias, which, I mean, it's literally every form of antagonism that I encounter beckons me towards greater knowledge and understanding. I hate the fact that that's a reality of this. It's a part of this reality, but it is. It is. And having realized that they had succeeded so intensely in their prerogatives, having succeeded so intensely in their prerogatives, I was upset at first, And then today I woke up and I realized, it just dawned on me, and it came pouring in like light through a window, that this is a new step. It's a new dawn. It's a new day. And first of all, I decided that I'm not even afraid of them physically. I realized that the Wild West, as we know it, the cowboys and Indians version that the Hollywood screen has given you, the old novels, the version of history of the ghost town, all that stuff, shootouts at high noon, all that. For some reason, the cartoon movie Rango comes to mind, or Duke Nukem on Nintendo 64, Duke Nukem 0 Hour, that kind of thing. What that was lawlessness, or it's something about where I grew up as a child in no man's land. North Texas, the panhandle of Texas and Oklahoma. The very reason that Oklahoma has a panhandle is because the territory that is now the Oklahoma panhandle was disputed between Kansas. There's a dispute over where the lines are to be drawn. And for a certain period of time, that physical geographical location was referred to as no man's land. There's even a beef jerky named after it that you can buy where it's made. That's where I grew up. Probably the most modern version of the Wild West that you can feast your eyes on. It's still out there, oil rigs and all. What I realized today was, in the Wild West of the past, prior to the computer, there were still the same fears of human decadence, of human savagery. In fact, they referred to the people who were attempting to tame the wild, were frontiersmen, gunslingers, advocates of justice and righteousness. And among them were lawmen, cowboys, and preachers, missionaries. I am a missionary. I am on a mission. My mission is to bring God into the new frontier. We cannot abandon our moral imperatives. I'm gonna have to push pause for a second because there's some fucking loud ass shit going on. I'm just gonna wait for you to. I don't know how long you're gonna take, but I'm in the middle of recording something. Recording. 2 o'clock in the morning, you can't get any fucking peace. In the Wild West, there were types of men. Among the types of men, there were civil, there were lawmen, there were preachers and missionaries, and there were savages. That is the state of man currently. The wicked, wild, wild, wild west is that place, but it is juxtaposed with the realm in the frontier of cyberspace. Okay? That includes the savages in the government. That includes the ability of the savages of the mafia, the mafioso savages. Just imagine crooks. Jesse James. Just imagine. Savages. Okay. Included in the realm of savages are the people who have money. The crooked, wicked oligarchs. And it doesn't matter how many guns they have. That's the territory. So I've been afraid. I do have I have a hit on my head. There's a price on my head by these savages. Today, what dawned on me is the fact that I have nothing to be afraid of. That has not already been faced, historically speaking. If that makes any sense. Walking down the sidewalk in public, while the technology has changed, human nature has not. And the fact of the matter is that if somebody wants to shoot me in cold blood, try to kidnap me and throw me in a van, in broad daylight, or at night, or by luring me to a bar, it doesn't matter. The savagery of humankind is not new. And it's a matter of who's the quickest gunslinger at this point. Try not to lose my patience. There's a major distraction. And it blows my fucking mind. No, actually it doesn't anymore. It doesn't. I'm gonna move on. And so the stakes are really fucking high. Being too polite. The stakes are so high that it involves a pipeline an established pipeline from the underclass, from the lower classes, the bottom, the greats, children literally being purchased for the purpose of human sacrifice. To just imagine the casual nature with which you do something sinful, like, I don't know, eating McDonald's. That's a rather common sinful act that most people are familiar with. Have yourself a corn syrup Coke, whatever it is, okay? These savages at the top of the pyramid casually purchase for thousands of dollars, just thousands, human beings. Gotta be fucking kidding me. I do not want to have to fucking edit this. So I guess I'm leaving in 5 minutes of silence just so where was I? Like water off a duck's back. Test. Okay. The stakes are that they have this power. They're using it, they're abusing it. If you are poor and you have children, only is it the case that men, if you desire to have children, the chance exists. As sad and fucked up and depraved and savage-like as it is, the possibility exists that you're being tricked into having children so that the person who is having the child with you can sell that child for money. That's the world we live in. Okay? Those are the stakes. My claim to territory is one of rationality. I am no longer walking around afraid of these fucking people. And like as it has been said before, if you're gonna fucking aim high, Willis. Aim high. Okay. Check your mind. I think. Oh yes, frontiersman. Okay. So the Wild West is cyberspace. So it's not just that space is the final frontier. It's hyperspace, cyberspace, psychedelia. All of this stuff came about because of the imagination of really smart people who happen to have an appreciation for the mind. And I think this might be where we try to use the interwebs. Testing. Try to make this quick. Keep it under 10 minutes. Come on, motherfucker. Come the fuck on, ass nigger. Maybe you just have to say that word. Nigger. Okay. Real quick. Come on, bitch. Well, let's see what they did on my computer. The frontiersman version of American history. The theory. That's what we're going for. And then maybe we can turn the fucking shit off. Daniel Boone. Fucking passed with the Appalachians in the 1700s, seeking land and field. He does not portray a self-reliant, tough, and resourceful push westward, clashing with savages, shaping the continent's expansion. Key moments include the Lewis and Clark expedition 1804 to 1806, mapping Louisiana Purchase and the Oregon Trail migration in the 1830s, 1840s, narrative glorifies figures like Dewey and Kit Carson, highlighting flexible hunting and battles against nature and savages. It's a romanticized view, often ignoring the displeasure of savages. Keep in mind, people, they were cutting off people's heads and rolling them down the pyramid stairs. They were killing each other. Okay? The romanticism of the view of history that does not regard uncivilized creatures as savages is absurd, and we're seeing right now play itself out is what happens to the mind of any human when the possibility, the reality, the conceptualization of moral integrity and moral appropriateness and civilized discourse and civilized discussion, civilized behavior is not held at the top. Yet, rich people who rape children, which I would take Mayan eclipse rituals over our present situation. Okay, I just wanted to knock that out because. Okay. Just like the frontiersman view of Western expansion involved subteming nature and civilizing the continent, in the exact same way, this is gonna fucking work. Are the ethical cowboys of the tech age. And yes, Texas has a lot to do with that. And the last thing, because this is really encroaching upon a crashing situation, and I don't want to lose the entire recording. Evil is the opposite of love. this also dawned on me, is these false dichotomies. And actually, I'm just going to get rid of that. See if that helps. These false dichotomies. They have told us that they've conceptualized the possibility of love and fear. Love and fear are not opposites. The opposite of love is evil. Evil is the opposite of love. Oh, the Robin Hood. I was just going to talk about the Ladybird Lake and the stealing. Okay, so two things. First of all, it's important to conceptualize love as being the opposite of evil, because evil is so pernicious and far spread and myriad and it's undefinable and enigmatic that you can't actually use words to describe or to explain it, because it's like a slippery, slimy fish that you pull out of a murky water hole. There is no definition to evil. That is a principal aspect of its nature. The only way that you can understand or even attempt to approach an understanding of evil is to refer to it by something that you can understand. What you can understand is your responsibility as a creative human being who relies on the principles of love and trust and honesty, but love foremost as the unifying creative venture. Okay? Whatever moves away from love and creativity is evil. You're moving towards evil. You will not define evil. You will never define evil. What you will do is encounter it like a savage in the night. And in your exploration and your attempt to tame this wild new frontier that we are now living in, the new normal, the tech fascist communist dystopia where rich people purchase poor people as slaves to do their bit, to do with as they wish. To understand the stakes in terms of what's happening here in Austin and Ladybird Lake, how they've pulled 36 bodies. The bodies of 36 discarded homeless people out of a lake in downtown Austin over the past 3 years. Those are the stakes. And the last thing I'm going to say is, as I've begun to demonstrate my ambitions as a homeless person in Austin, I have availed the use of technology that they've attempted to break, and it is power, it is knowledge that is the power, wisdom that is the sword that I keep sheathed. The freedom fighters are the free and open source developers, hands down. Free and open source, Linux, live USB, ISO files, so you can make a bootable, this is what I'm doing, a bootable USB with ISO files containing multiple distributions on what is called Ventoy. Linux can be used in a very limited and minimal capacity. I do not have a hard drive on this broken machine, and I'm still able, even